So today we're going to start with chapter 7. And those of you who are in class on Tuesday, I forgot to bring my speaker, and so I wasn't able to record it. But primarily we worked on a lot of questions for this chapter 5 and 6 quiz. There were 4 of you who took the quiz, a couple more to get it done. And did I tell you I was going to open it through tonight? Sunday night. Seeing if you're awake. So I'll have it open till Sunday night, and you have 3 hours to complete the quiz. Any questions on that before we move on?
Did you grade the ones that the people
Yes, I did, and you did very well. During a break, I'll tell you what you got.
Okay.
So far, the average grade is good. But okay, it's good. This chapter is going to talk about fraud, internal control, and cash. Have I talked to you about the fraud triangle in this class? We'll talk about what creates fraud, or what conditions have to be in place for fraud to occur. Most of us think it's impossible for fraud to occur, but guys, it happens all the time. It happens with upper management, lower people. It's more common actually with upper management because they're able to usurp the controls in a better fashion than people that don't have a lot of authority or power. So as we start, what we're going to talk about relates to fraud and why it's important to have internal controls in place, to have systems in place to protect the assets of a company. And what types of controls can be in place to help eliminate fraud. What is fraud? It's a dishonest act by an employee that results in a personal benefit or gain to the employee at the detriment of the employer. This is the fraud triangle here. There are 3 factors that contribute to fraud. All 3 of these have to be present in order for fraud to occur. There has to be an opportunity. There's got to be an open avenue in order to create fraud. There's got to be some type of pressure within that person to need the money. Now, the pressure could be realistic medical bills of the family. It could be a gambling habit, a drug addiction. There's some type of pressure that is forcing or that is challenging the employee to pursue a way of getting money. And there has to be rationalization. Rationalization such as, they don't pay me enough anyway. What's it hurt for me to take this $500? Because, if they really paid me what they were paying Joe, I'd be making way more than that. Or a rationalization. You know what? This person screwed me out of my raise this year. I'm just getting it back. Make sense? Have any of you ever done, I'm not saying you've committed fraud, but have you ever rationalized behavior? Such as, say you're dating someone and you want to kind of slip and go out on a date with someone else. And you go, well, you know what, we're really not that serious. Or the IRS. I pay so much in tax. What's it hurt to just lie on this? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Or do you guys not do that? You have high ethical standards. I applaud you. Anybody? No one wants to admit it. I've made choices in my life. I should probably turn this off while I share some of these things. So the thing with fraud that is troubling is that you're stealing. You're intentionally stealing something that's not yours to have. But fraud cannot occur without the opportunity. The opportunity meaning they don't have internal controls in place, so you can walk off with 4 pairs of Saucony, whatever, or the nicest Nikes in the storeroom because they don't have cameras, they don't have someone guarding the door. it's easier for you to walk away. There's got to be an opportunity to do it. Or the financial pressure. We generally don't feel the pinch if things are going well. There's usually some type of reason that forces us, or doesn't force us, that coerces us in making a poor decision. And then we rationalize our behavior. So this is very common, even with, who was the big guy that had the financial brokerage firm? Madoff. How do you think Madoff rationalized stealing people's money? He did. Of course, he had the opportunity. He had all the controls. At some level, he wanted to keep up with this lifestyle he had. And he probably rationalized it by saying he was going to pay it back. He's just borrowing it for a little bit and paying it back. Right? Do you see how that works? Okay. So, what am I doing wrong here? I'm going the wrong way. So fraud needs to have those three specific characteristics in place for it to work. As a result of Enron and WorldCom and Tyco, Sarbanes-Oxley Act came about. Does anyone know about the Sarbanes-Oxley Act? Have you talked about this term in other classes? The Sarbanes-Oxley Act was created in Congress as a result of so much fraud occurring within the public sector of different companies. Enron. Have you guys heard the story about Enron and how some individuals, it was a huge company with billions of dollars of assets, and it went down because a few people at the top basically stole the money. You guys aren't familiar with that? I'm going to just show you a little excerpt of this. It's truly stunning what occurred. Here's just a little blip of how
Those guys could just yank the California economy on its leash whenever they wanted to, and they did it, and they did it, and they did it.
Could I predict phony energy prices as a result of deregulation? Yes. Could I predict that Arnold Schwarzenegger would become a governor as a result of deregulation? Oh, I didn't expect that.
How exactly does Enron make its money?
Accounting doesn't get that creative.
I would like to know if you are on track.
This is the shredded evidence that came out of Enron.
Everyone was on the bandwagon, and it can happen again.
We are the good guys. We are on the side of Angel.
It has evolved to incorporate crime of the century.
How many of you have seen this? 1, 2. How do you guys like it? The ones who have seen it. 2 of you have seen it. How many have not heard about this? Would you guys be upset if I spent 40 minutes in this class just